you're getting kicked out when you do this. The only question is, will he be suspended? That was enormous because when you were talking about Ben Simmons guarding Kyrie, with Marcus Smart off the court, they don't have a great answer for someone to guard Ben Simmons. Late in the game, Ben Simmons gets the and one to give him the lead. The Marcus Smart's mistake was huge, and the Celtics are who they are. They're a good, not great team. Like, that's who they've been all year long. And Kyrie had a lot of points, 12 of 29 from the field, even though he came in fresh because Rozier was playing at the beginning of the fourth. It's a tough loss for Boston.
All right, Sixers avoid the season sweep. They beat the Boston Celtics 118-115. Let's head to the NFL now. Finally got some insight into L. Bell's decision to sign with the Jets. The former Steeler running back sat down with SITV in his first big interview since about his time as a Steeler, his rumored weight gain, his money, and of course his relationship with Big Ben Roethlisberger.
It's like Ben, and then like GM. You know what I'm saying? It's like they all like, it seems like they're all on the same level, and everybody else is like lower.
Okay, so it's Ben, the GM, and then all the rest of the players.
In a sense.
Well,
that's the vibe I got. I just feel all the same. We're all on the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And you felt like you weren't even with Ben.
Ben is Ben. He's the quarterback. At the time, I'm thinking that's how it's supposed to be. He's supposed to be like that. Like, don't get me wrong, quarterbacks are leaders, and yeah, everybody go to the quarterback. It is what it is. But it's like, you're still a teammate. At the end of the day, you're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not Kevin Colbert. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're not Mr. Rooney. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
We're still teammates.
Was that a factor why you didn't want to stay in Pittsburgh?
That was part of it. That's part of it. It wasn't the factor.
Mm-hmm.
That was a factor. Yes, it was a factor.
Your relationship with him?
Yeah, it was a factor.
And you wanted it to be different in a way?
Yes.
How would you have liked it to be different?
I'd have liked it to be more open, more genuine, more real, more, you know what I'm saying? Like we're friends, like we teammates.
And you did not feel that way?
No.
Maurkice Pouncey defended his quarterback on Instagram, saying, "I've been with Ben going on 10 years. I swear on my kids, he is a true leader. Sucks to see players who leave and are mad at the organization now try and point fingers like they're perfect. But this is the world we live in now." All right, see, there's a lot to take in there. What did you make of Le'Veon's comments?
I thought it was unnecessary. At every NFL office, there's an NFL facility. There's a pecking order. Do you think Edelman and Tom Brady on the same page when Bill Belichick talked to them? Like, you think they're on the same page? We got Trent Brown coming to the show later. You think that the conversations Brady was having with them, you think they was the same as he was having? No, that's the normal way of doing business. In any office or structure, there is a pecking order of doing things. I think that L. Bell, if they had given him the guaranteed money, you know something? He wouldn't be saying that today. So that has a lot to do with it. Now, if you're going to be teammates or close to a guy compared to are we going to be friends? Because I had a lot of teammates. I thought they were good teammates. I wasn't trying to be friends with them. You know, as far as socially and everything and be involved in their life. No, that's all extra. Now, there were some guys on the team. Man, we had a group of guys that, man, we did all types of things together. But it's cliques in a locker room. You got 5 or 6 different cliques of people hanging out with each other. And for what I know from Ben is close enough to his teammates, but he wasn't close to AB, wasn't close to L. Bell, he wasn't close to them. The offensive lineman, he is closer to them. They're more of his drinking buddies. Yeah. They hang out with them and everything. That's why you saw, that's why you saw Pouncey yesterday come to the rescue and be like, no, this guy isn't. For an offensive lineman, Ben is a good leader. He plays hurt, he's tough, he's smart, can throw the ball. Man, he can throw the ball at any part of the football field. In the critical moments, 3rd down, 4th quarter, will Ben come through for you? It's been proven year after year. So if he had gotten guaranteed money, yes. Is this structure in Pittsburgh similar to those that I've seen around the NFL? Very, very similar.
And listen, Big Ben's very smart about the teammates that he will and won't criticize publicly. We've spent so much time about his radio interviews, his press conferences. I can't think of a time where he's like, well, what happened on that play is somebody missed a block and I got hit. That's why never criticizes publicly the offensive linemen. So I think it's smart by him. It's genuine or not. The guys who have the biggest issue with Big Ben on the team seem to be guys that he will publicly criticize and or guys who also want a bigger share of the spotlight. Offensive lineman Stink talks about it all the time with us. They know they aren't going to be starring actors in their movie. They are always going to be supporting or unnamed characters. That's the personality of them. But when you have personality of an Antonio Brown, superstar wide receiver, Le'Veon Bell, superstar running back, I'm sure there is some natural bitterness of Big Ben doesn't share a lot of the glory, gets a disproportionate amount of power within the organization, and why can't we be pals? Is Le'Veon Bell's mindset. There's a lot of, to me, very fair criticisms of Big Ben, a lot of which I've levied on this show. I don't think it's his responsibility to be friends with Le'Veon Bell. I don't think it's his responsibility, by the way, to knock himself down a peg in the organization. If you want to say the organization has elevated him above the coach, and that's problematic, they've elevated him above the rest of us, and that's problematic, that's an organization complaint. It's not nobody's in the business of going to bosses and saying, hey guys, I think you treat me too well. I think my stature should be lessened. So of the criticisms of Ben Roethlisberger that are fair, I don't know that Le'Veon Bell was listing them right there.
I understand you don't hear him often come out and speak poorly of or blame or throw any of his offensive linemen under the bus. I get that. But a big part of why Ben Roethlisberger is successful has been over the last couple of years because of Antonio Brown and because of Le'Veon Bell. And if he, as we're hearing the rumors are, he got what he wanted, he got rid of the two guys that he often criticizes, and he got rid of his offensive coordinator from a couple of years ago, Todd Haley, all the people that he has spoken out about. Now you want to see, okay, Ben, this is the team that you seemingly want. There's no one else that you don't like. There are no other sort of cancers on the team, if you will. Now let's see what you've put together.
I have to correct you there, because it's not Ben's decision. Ben didn't decide who was going to get the money. He didn't decide to trade AB. AB demanded a trade. All right. Now, he did criticize the decisions as far as the coaches, but so did Aaron Rodgers. So we've seen quarterbacks and players criticize that. Ben has not selected the roster. Kevin Colbert and them don't go to him and say, hey, Ben, how are we going to dish out this money? So we can't put that responsibility on Ben Roethlisberger. That's not his responsibility.
But was the culture he had created, or the buildup, did it come to a head where it was, well, you can either keep Antonio Brown or you can keep me?
I think that he certainly exacerbated the Antonio Brown situation. I don't think the Le'Veon Bell situation, that was a contract dispute.
Sure.
I think Ben Roethlisberger, now, maybe he didn't help Le'Veon Bell's warm and fuzzy feelings when he said all those good things about James Conner, when he said we're going to be fine. Like I think that's to your point. But the Le'Veon Bell situation was money.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown, I think, could have been solved by money, but it wasn't money wasn't the initial factor. I think Antonio Brown, the initial factor was headbutting with he and Big Ben. But I haven't heard Ben Roethlisberger say, and I don't think we will, that he's glad those guys are gone. I think he knows they have helped him do his job. I think where he could have been better was on acknowledging early on, they helped me do my job. Maybe I shouldn't throw Antonio under the bus when I throw a pick to a D lineman.
Right.
Le'Veon Bell has been a great player for us. We want him to come back this year. Maybe I shouldn't publicly say we're going to be fine. We got James Conner. Those types, especially because in that interview, Le'Veon made it clear he didn't really have a great plan, as you were talking about all last year. He didn't know going into it, I'm going to sit out this week or that week, come back here. So maybe some of those comments, when he's like, I'm going to come back after week 1. Maybe that's one of the reasons he didn't come back as early as he said he thought he was maybe going to and then didn't. Like, there wasn't a lot of logic there.
Yeah, let's not get away from what's Ben's #1 responsibility. When he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we should note this, Pittsburgh Steelers create the culture, all right? Ben Roethlisberger rolled into that culture, all right? Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, they create the culture. We can't blame that on Ben Roethlisberger. Now, Ben, is there a difference between great leadership styles? Yes. But his #1 responsibility is to lead the football team, which he did when they were defensive dominated and led them to a Super Bowl. He made sure they didn't blow it. And then after that, Ben led them to the Super Bowl. So your #1 responsibility, regardless of what your assignment is, to do your job. And that's to deliver the football to the players who deserve to be able to get the football, or the way the coaches have played it. So we can't distort this. We're starting to talk about a lot of different stuff. I can play with Ben Roethlisberger. You know the reason why? Because he's a damn good quarterback. And he's going to deliver the mail where the ball needs to be delivered. And I played with a bunch of bad ones. So let's not get that mixed up as we A.B. whining and took himself out of Pittsburgh. L. Bell, because he didn't get the guarantees, he's out of Pittsburgh. That's not Ben Roethlisberger's fault.
It's a fair point. All right, take a break coming up. Much more from Le'Veon's sit down. That's ahead on First Things First.
If you can throw at my catch radius, you can be a jerk. I'm cool with that.